Hey folks, welcome back to the Frontier Western Heritage Channel. I'm Todd Kessner here in Tucson, Arizona, and today we're going to do the shooting half of the annealing video that I started in the garage when I actually did the annealing process with the heat, which makes the mouth of your case softer so that when you fire it, the idea is it would expand better to the walls of the chamber. And we're going to actually do the shooting part and see if it makes any difference between annealed cases and non-annealed cases, and which one would be better if you were in a situation where you had to shoot a lot and reload and keep shooting. How long will that lever action rifle continue to function with black powder fouling in a non-annealed case versus an annealed case? It's pretty interesting to see what the difference is, and it could be a little difference, could be no difference. So I'll let you watch the video. We're going to jump right straight ahead into the shooting. Well folks, I did find a place to shoot. I am on a piece of property where I've got permission to be able to shoot, and you can probably tell, and maybe by the echo as well, as I'm on a concrete slab. I've got a cover open air pavilion that I'm able to shoot out of. So I'm in the shade and my targets will be out in the sun, and we're going to see how that works when it comes to being able to film down range at those targets. But lucky to have this and lucky to be in the shade. It's extremely hot, but I have a safe place to shoot, so I'm tickled that I get to do that. So I loaded up our black powder rounds for the 45 Colt. I've got 30 of them that are annealed, 30 of them that are not annealed. We're going to see basically which ones are going to be the cleanest. So this test isn't an accuracy test. It's not a velocity test. This is strictly what is going to be the cleanest round, with the idea being that how many rounds can you shoot before your gun starts gumming up so bad that the action doesn't work? And so we've got the carrier block that brings each round up out of the magazine and lines it up with a chamber and a bolt that puts it in. How long is it before that carrier block starts to refuse to operate as it's supposed to? And the 45 Colt, which I know is not an authentic round for the 73 Winchester, I'm using a Uverti reproduction Cimarron of the 73 Winchester. I know the 45 Colt was not originally chambered in the 73. It is with all the reproductions. They've changed the cartridge enough that the tiny rim that would not eject well in the Winchesters in the 1800s has been expanded to modern times, and it ejects just fine. But the 45 Colt is a great round to use as an example because it's a straight walled case. And if we're going to have gas coming back and fouling coming back into the action, it's going to be more prominent in a straight walled case. My 4440 that has a bottleneck case, all the fouling goes down the barrel if it's annealed or not. It just seals better when you've got that bottleneck case. 45 Colt doesn't, so it's a good test just to see. But I'm hypothesizing that our annealed cases will be somewhat cleaner because they're going to expand to the chamber wall better than our non-annealed cases. And we'll see if that holds up after 30 rounds, if we can tell the difference at all. I haven't done this before, so don't know if it's going to work out or not, but thought we'd give it a try and see if annealing will keep your gun cleaner for longer. In the 1800s, it might have been a sustained gunfight you were in. Today, it might be a sustained competition that you're in, and you want to shoot black powder. You want to find a round that's going to not have all the fouling come up to the point where your gun no longer works. So this is a 73, and I've got some competition inspection stickers on it, but this 73 was shot for a training class and with smokeless powder. And I'm going to see hopefully that the camera will pick this up, but the carrier block is already extremely dirty. This thing is, of course, supposed to be brass, and it is brass, but it's supposed to look like brass. It is extremely dirty. So I'm going to have to, first thing I'm going to have to do is start taking this thing apart, pull this carrier block out, get it clean so we have a clean gun to start with, and then we're going to shoot our non-annealed rounds, and then we'll shoot our annealed rounds and see what happens. I'm going to pull this carrier block out here real quick as I'm disassembling this so I can get this thing clean and show it to you just as itself outside the gun. So here's the carrier block. I'm going to try to show you through the viewfinder, and as you can tell, it is, you can tell at least it is made out of brass when you look at the side of it, but boy, the rest of it is very, very fouled. And get a little further away so we can get a focus on this thing. And this is smokeless powder, so it's going to blow back a lot over time, and really surprisingly little time, with smokeless powder, so you can imagine what the fouling might be like with black powder. So I brought along my sonic cleaner because if you've ever cleaned a carrier block without one, you will know it's going to take you forever, and it's a lot of scrubbing, a lot of solvent, it's just a pain. So whenever I want to clean one of these things, I want to use my sonic brass cleaner because it just takes a lot of the work out of it. And this one's lime, and I put a little bit of the brass polish in there, brass cleaner in there. Got it warmed up. Room temperature might be warm enough today, but I'm just going to drop this in here, and it's going to run for 8 minutes. Sometimes that's enough to do it, and other times once I wipe it off there's still fouling on it, so I'll put it in for another 8 minutes. But while I do that, then that gives me a chance to clean up the rest of the gun. So I'm going to wipe that down as well so that the walls of the frame are as fouled free as I can get, because this slides up and down in that frame. So I'm going to throw this in here, put it at the maximum time. And I did turn on, like I said, I did turn on the temperature to the heater to get that heated. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to set it at the highest is about 8 minutes, and we're going to let that go. And when we come back, we'll check that out. And in the meantime, I'll go clean the rest of the rifle. So our first 8 minutes are up. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's pretty hot. Pull this thing out of the soup. It's going to be hot to hang on to. Whew. And we can see. Let me see if I can use these as a pot holder. We've got a lot of fouling that's come off of this thing. So I'm going to be able to really clean this up pretty well. A lot of it has already come off in the water. I'm going to scrub it a little bit with this brass brush. I'm going to drop it back in for another 8 minutes, and we might be in business. So a very quick, relatively easy way of getting your carrier block clean without having to spend literally 45 minutes trying to scrape it with just solvent and a brush. So I'm going to use a little solvent and I'm going to use the brush, but most of the work's being done in the sonic cleaner, and we'll put her in for another 8 minutes and we'll take another look at it. So we're at our second run of this. Let's see what we got in here and how clean this block is now. And get it up out of the soup a little bit. And just like last time, it's hot. But we've got a clean carrier block. There's just a couple of little deposits here in the crevices that I'm going to probably be able to get out with this, rubbing the patch on there, cleaning patch, or getting it with that wire brush with the patch. But we've got a clean carrier block by and large. So I'll just kind of fix up the little few places that I didn't quite get all the carbon off, and we'll put the gun back together and start shooting some black powder loads. So as you can see, I've got downrange littered with pop cans and jugs and things like that. So I'm going to pull out my best Hickok 45 and just kind of lay into these things just for fun. A lot less complicated of a video than when I've got to pull out the chronograph and all the extra stuff and the cameras on the target and all that sort of thing. So this is just going to be kind of fun. And we're going to see if we can hit any of this stuff. Doesn't really matter. The test is the cleanliness of the gun, but let me load up 10 rounds, give her a try, and see what happens. We are all loaded up, ready to shoot first 10 rounds. I got thinking about what I was going to say next, and I didn't remember to count if I got 9, 10, or 11. So we shall find out. Luckily, it doesn't matter because we're not in any kind of a contest here. I got to put in my foam earplugs though, because as I might have said in the truck got stolen video, that my range bag was in there, and whoever got my truck got my good molded, 2 sets of molded earplugs, a good set of glasses, everything that you keep in your range bag that's like always in your truck. And now it's in the hands of whoever stole my truck. So we're going to just stick these foamies in here for today. See if we got 10, we got 11, and give this thing a try. Let's go for a jug. Just to the left, I believe. Got that one. All right, we're empty. Let's take a look real quick at the carrier block. not too terrible bad. It's not awful. It could be a lot worse. So let's see what another, and then I forgot to count again as I was shooting. Let's see what another 10 rounds does to this thing. I'll load up another 10, we'll give her another try. Another 10 rounds of the non-annealed 45 Colt. Take another look. Now it's starting to get a little gumpy here. We're having just a little bit of trouble. Yep, it's not falling all the way. That's one thing about one of these 73s or the 66 for any of the falling block type or a carrier block type action. There's not a lot of down pressure to get that thing to drop. So when it starts getting gummed up, you got to snap it pretty hard just to get that carrier block to go back to the bottom, pick up another cartridge out of the magazine. So that's where your trouble comes in. It would be nice, and maybe the originals, I don't know, I haven't played around with originals, but at least for the reproductions, there's no down pressure, so it's got to snap with some spring pressure to it, but nothing on the lever that's going to push it down. And we're starting to gum up already. So that's 20 rounds. Let's try another 10. Last 10. What have I got left out there? Hit the bottom of that jug. Hit the orange cap. No, can't tell. There we go. Oh, she's getting gummed up now. Boy, we're laying waste out there now. Nah, that one's kind of far off to the left or right, rather. See if I can get that sideways scan. I don't know if I did or not. And nope, I still got another one left. And that's it. Well, I'm not 100% sure if I turned the video on those last 2 rounds. I was talking to the camera and all of a sudden the screen went black. So I'm going to do this again. If you missed those last 10 rounds, hopefully I got them on the glasses, the shooting glasses, camera glasses. But this is getting very difficult to move up and down. So there's the carrier block. It takes a lot of pressure to push it up. As the gun heats up, the brass will expand a little bit. So if we let this cool for a little while, sometimes we can get a few more rounds out of it. But again, yeah, that time I cranked her up and crud came out of it. So we're going to take this thing apart. I am going to clean this carrier block again, clean the inside of the frame, go to our annealed cases, and we shall see if it made any difference or not. First annealed case. Let's see what we can hit out here. Let him have it. I am out. So here's the annealed cases after 10 rounds. And we're looking pretty good, but we were with the other ones as well. I mean, there is nothing at all hindering this carrier block or elevator, as some people call it. So, gosh, I'm thinking we're going to make a difference here. Let's just see how 20 more rounds act. All right, second 20. Let's see if we can get that milk jug out there. Got some leaking coming out of there now. And let's get this guy. And there is my next 10. All right, so far my little theory here is holding up. Look at that thing. just like I haven't shot a darn thing. Let's try the next 10. Last 10 rounds. I'm going to leave one jug so I can put my empties in it and wash some of the black powder off. Because I put my last jug out there, and I'm going to, if you're noticing that I'm missing one or not shooting at it, that's intentional. Let's see if we can dump these last 10 rounds, see what happens. All right, look at that. Nothing, hardly holding that back. I'm excited about that. I'm just excited that my theory might be correct. But it is definitely making a fouling difference. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I got 10 rounds left. A couple of them are just a little bit deformed because when I was practicing with the annealer, I didn't notice it, but I kind of really damaged a couple of cases, but they loaded. That's when I noticed there was a little bit of wrinkle there. So I'm going to try to, I'm not going to keep those. I'm going to see if they'll even chamber. And if they do, then we're going to be able to try this thing for another few rounds anyway. All right, so since my gun isn't all gummed up, I'm going to get 10 bonus rounds in here, and let's see if it keeps operating like this. And I didn't put my phone in airplane mode, so potential spam's calling me again. Oops, I got shells falling off my hat. Look at that, 40 rounds. And I'm telling you, if you look around the cement floor here, the table, top of my hat, it looks like the Johnson County War. And I'm still operating like there's nothing ever happened. So I'm starting to think that annealing machine this might have been worth the buy. All right, well, hey, I've got the carrier block out. I forgot to show it to you after the first 30 rounds, and I wish I would have, because it wasn't fouled terribly, but obviously it had fouling because it wasn't going up and down inside the frame of the gun. But look at that. I mean, that other one, like I said, it wasn't bad. But this one is like nothing ever happened. I'm actually impressed. I'm not just impressed because my hypothesis proved to have a little bit of validity here, but I'm impressed that it's just like that much of a difference. Absolutely crazy it's that much of a difference. Well, as you can see, I don't quite have the gun back together yet. I got a lot of cleaning left to do, and I know that it's messy. You can tell by my hands. And a lot of people complain about the mess with black powder, and it's true. It is obviously it's a messier powder to have to deal with. But at the same time, I don't complain about cleaning black powder because you can clean it with soap and water, and so that's a real advantage over smokeless, where that carrier block, when I had had training and fired several hundred rounds through it, that thing was an absolute mess, and it takes a lot of work to get that carbon off that's from the smokeless powder compared to what you can do with soap and water with the black powder. So yeah, there's of course the disadvantage is you got to clean it a lot quicker. You can't let it set, and if you let the smokeless powder fouling set, it just gets harder and harder to get that off as well. So at least this comes off easy. You can't let it set in a lot of humid environments, and I don't anyway, but if you did, it's still easy to clean. It's more easy to clean a few days down the road than your smokeless powder. But very pleased with how this thing all operated after 40 rounds with the annealed case. And you know, when Winchester first came out with this rifle, they came out with the 4440, and at the time it was called the 44 Winchester Central Fire. That's a bottleneck case. And I'm just thinking that must have been, I don't know what they were thinking at the time, but to me it would have been a very intentional plan to come out with the bottleneck case, because that case seals the chamber much better and you don't get all of the fouling back into the action like you do with the non-annealed 45 Colt. And that would keep your repeating rifle operating a lot longer. And they would have had the experience of the Henry rifle and 44 rimfire in a copper case, but straight walled, and also that cartridge carried into the 1866 Winchester as well. So you've had they had a couple generations of a straight walled case. I just wonder if they didn't very intentionally go to a bottleneck case, because when I shoot a 44-40, even when I don't anneal them in one of these rifles, I have very little fouling going into the action, and so that just naturally seals better because of the shape of the cartridge. But I am pleased that the annealing is definitely something that makes a big difference. Certainly worth buying that machine. I'm glad that it worked this well, because I'm really actually surprised that it worked this well. I thought it would probably be better, but not this well. And this carrier block looks like it never even got anything on it. So I'm really pleased with that, and we'll continue to anneal cartridges that I'm going to use for any sort of a competition or demonstration or training or anything like that. But if you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. That helps us tremendously. I appreciate that. Those likes really spread the word to other folks. And also hit that subscribe as well. You get notified of the next video coming out. And I know it's been a little spotty lately. It's just been really tough when you don't have any place to shoot. And this one took a lot of work to get here and get permission and all that. So I'm really pleased I got to at least get a video out on the range, being able to do some shooting. But hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and once again for today, I just want to thank you for coming. On just to see, well, our first 8 minutes are up here, so let me get this stuff where I can see it. There we go. Well, our first 8 minutes are up. Doggone it. It's kind of fun. This is a fun video. I don't have to, all of them are fun, but this one is a lot less complicated. I don't have to have the thingamajiggies and all that stuff, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. Chronograph. It is a pain to get that off there. Sometimes you've got to take pieces and very carefully